All right, everyone, this is the one I bet you were waiting for. We're going to be talking about the top mid-handicap irons for 2024. Jake's going to be hitting these for us again and really just giving us his thoughts as we go through. And Jake, give me your thoughts. When I'm thinking mid-handicapper, I'm probably thinking high teens and maybe low 20s, but when it comes to the clubs, I'm looking at clubs that look good. They're pretty small, but there is still a lot of technology built into them to help us out.
Yeah, anytime somebody talks to me about mid-handicap irons, I just think you got to go hollow body construction, but then try to get it as small as you can. We're not looking for a ton of workability with a mid-handicapper. I think maybe the lower end of that might be starting to want the workability, which something like this will still give you. It's not going to sling like a blade or like a cavity back is going to, but the hollow body technology is going to keep that ball straighter. It's going to be a little bit more fast too, so they can keep that ball online, going in greens, and it's also providing a little bit of launch assistance. I think that's the biggest thing for a mid-handicapper is sometimes it's not about hitting it straight or about hitting it far. It's a lot of times they can't hit the ball high enough so that it stops because there's such low spin. They're also probably playing the wrong golf ball, but that's
Hey, we can talk about that one too. But no, I think you hit the nail on the head there. A lot of these clubs, the three that we're going to talk about today, again, this is using data from almost 40,000 fittings, so we didn't just pick these clubs. 2 out of the 3 are hollow body construction, and there are definitely on the higher launching sides, I think, for the category for some of that launch assistance like you mentioned. First one though, it's not going to be hollow bodied, but there is a lot of cool technology in here with the i230, and I would say of the bunch, so Ping i230, probably looking at our data, the highest launching of the 3 we are going to talk about today. And then again, probably the longest blade length too. So a little bit longer heel to toe to help increase some MOI. We talk about MOI a lot with the drivers especially. There is some MOI when it comes to irons as well, just to help those miss hits work better. And then you will see some carryover from our most forgiving irons, just in a smaller amount of it. So what I mean by there is still thicker soles than you might get when it comes to like a blade. There is generally a little more offset compared to your your straight blade profiles in there as well too, to help maybe a little fade, or if you do hit it a little heavy, still have usable shots.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a perfect description of a mid-handicap iron. There's enough help there that I wasn't absolutely destroyed, but that ball was chunked straight up. Like that ball was hit very heavy, but we're retaining a lot of spin there. The ball got up in the air, which is all we care about, and it stayed straight. We're not worrying about a low spin kind of ducky miss, which is great for something like this because as they try to get into something smaller, less technology than this, I think that's where that mid-handicapper can fall apart. So not on purpose. I'm sorry I chunked it, but it's a good example.
Now, I think that would be, again, when you start getting into those smaller like blades, especially when I've had blades in the past, I've always felt like it's not so much the directional part is the issue. It's if you do catch it a little bit heavier, it digs that much more.
Yep.
And especially as you start catching them towards the toe, the distance just drops off by a ton. Sound pretty nice there. So if you get another higher launch, and again, looking at talking descent angle again, we're just trying to keep this in the mid to high 40s, creeping into the 50s is fine. That would be a club that is totally usable. It's going to stop when it lands on the green.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move into our next one though. So we're going to start going into then the hollow body construction with the Mizuno Pro. That is their 245. And when they made the 243, I want to say, I thought it was an awesome looking iron where it looks like a blade if you put it in the bag. But there is a hollow body construction there to help with some forgiveness as well as speeds.
Yeah, I play the 243s. That's what I've been gaming the last few weeks here. And if you would not have told me that this was a 245, I would have believed you. So very interesting there from the team Mizuno. I think they worked really, really hard on the aesthetic of this to give help to the better player. And a lot of times, too, when we talk about mid-handicap, sometimes it's not a skill issue, it's a speed issue. So you've got guys that used to be very good players, but they just don't hit the ball as far. So maybe they're not getting greens and regulations purely based off of speed, right? And that's where something like this can really help because it doesn't offend them for how it looks. There's not a ton of offset here. It looks like what they were using before, but it helps them get that extra little bit of speed that they might need just as they progress into age or disability or whatever the case may be.
And I think your 245 is starting to move into that kind of player distance iron category. But what you don't get out of this is lower launching ball flights. I think it still hits pretty high, but has the speed like you mentioned.
Yeah, the other thing too there is like this feels so good. It's not offensive in sound or feel into the hands. We know that those two things correlate a lot. It's not clicky, it's not firm. you know, not to take the tagline, but it feels like a Mizuno. So you get that nice kind of really compressed feeling of soft off the face, and then you get the performance benefits out of it. Obviously, like that going to 125, that's the numbers we were seeing with the big old game improvement irons we were hitting earlier.
Yeah, and I think that's that category in general, your hollow-bodied irons, probably the biggest improvement they made over the last several generations. Is the early versions were very clicky. They felt hollow-bodied.
Yeah.
Now they've injected them with various compounds to help make it feel like a one-piece club, but then still have the benefits that hollow body provides.
So it's a little thin. Let's see how it does. So thin at 48.
Still launching plenty high.
We're fine.
Yeah, we don't have any problem holding the green with that.
Still carrying at 180. Didn't lose any speed off the bottom of the face there. That's where that hollow body really helps you out.
Well, let's talk about another club that's going to have some technology in it to help you with those thin shots too. P790s?
I think this iron sparked this category.
Yeah.
I really do. I think in what was it, 17 when the original one came out, I think this iron sparked this entire category. I think that the reason manufacturers are making clubs with these similar specs is because of this iron, and TaylorMade has only made it better and better every year. I know that this one sells a ton too. Like this is such a high seller. So
yeah, the P790 is definitely one of our best-selling irons. And then with the hollow body construction, they've changed some of the internals with the kind of, I'm going to call it a honeycomb structure, just to move around weight. And then I mentioned why that'd be good for your thin shots. It's got the slot in the bottom of the sole there. It basically just makes the bottom flex a little bit, so when you do hit those thin ones, you get more ball speed. So
yeah, that speed pocket combined with that progressive CG is, I think, really, really smart, because that's another thing that you're not going to get if you're not in a hollow body. It's really hard to do that, and we're starting to see that technology flow down into other irons, into smaller segments for better players. But that progressive CG with what they've done inside of this, and we can show really cool pictures of the different ones of different irons, but it's really cool what they've done there. And again, it's helping people play better golf, so what's the complaint?
they've just made subtle changes to every model they've had, be that from changing the material of the speed foam, moving around some CGs, even just some of the grooves and how they've done the face, to just trying to make the best iron they can.
Uh-oh. Thin and pulley.
There she goes. That's a good pull.
I mean, but still thin
Still
pulled.
probably catching the green.
Yeah, thin pulled, 48 degrees. That went a long way. There's a lot of speed coming out of that heel.
And even with that one, with again, your pulls are usually going to launch a little lower, and even that one's still at 48. So again, no problems holding the green. I think it might be another nice one to end on there, Jake. Get into the 50s. So I don't think I saw you launch a single one of them under probably 47, I want to say. And it might even been more
just
than
the
that.
two thin ones are 48, and on a thin one, that's really, really, really good.
Yeah, no problems holding the green with that one. So if you classify yourself as a mid-handicapper, one of these irons would probably be a good choice for you, be that the 245 from Mizuno, P790 from TaylorMade, or you had the I230 from Ping. They're all awesome. They all go really far, which never hurts, but they launch plenty high as well, so we can actually hold a green too. So definitely those are worth trying out, but if you're looking for a new set of irons, definitely do it the right way. Log on to golftec.com, find a GolfTec coach near you. Jake, thank you again.
Absolutely. Nice,
pleasure.